We are just 50 some odd days away from the election, and the campaign trail got both presidential candidates. They're on their way to bringing their messages to battleground states. You've got Democratic nominee Joe Biden heading to Michigan today. He's also unveiling a new manufacturing policy. It includes a 10% tax credit for companies that bring overseas jobs back to the United States. Meanwhile, President Trump spoke in Florida and in North Carolina yesterday. He touched on many of his familiar campaign themes during his North Carolina rally. Many of the attendees did not appear to be social distancing, and many were not wearing masks. So let's dig into this with Paula Reid. She's standing by for us at the White House with more. Paula, we're hearing the Trump campaign may be facing some money issues. On one hand, you've got the Biden campaign raising record amounts and spending record amounts on ads. The president suggesting that he might actually pay out of his own pocket. What's going on?
That's right, Vlad. The campaign is facing a surprising cash crunch, even though they've raised over $1 billion since the president announced his bid for re-election. And as you noted yesterday, the president said he may even have to put some of his own cash in the campaign if that's what it takes. He said, quote, whatever it takes, we have to win. They've spent about $850 million of that $1 billion that has been raised so far. The current campaign manager, Bill Stepien, he says right now they are carefully managing their budget. And right now they're facing a very unexpected expense. The campaign is currently paying to repair damage on the other side of the White House, the South Lawn and the Rose Garden. After you had those big crowds from the RNC, a lot of heavy equipment too to set all of that up. There was damage to some of the sod on the back lawn, and the campaign insists that there will be no expense to taxpayers, and they are picking up that bill.
Wait, hold on before Anne-Marie asks the next question. So, sorry, just one thing, Anne-Marie. Paula, wait, are we talking about the Rose Garden that was just redone? Melania Trump, the First Lady, redid the Rose Garden, I believe at taxpayer expense. You're talking about that area at the White House?
So there's two different areas where the campaign had events. The body that oversees Hatch Act violations said that government employees are exempt if they are in the Rose Garden or if they are on the South Lawn. I'm currently on the North Lawn of the White House. On the back side of the White House, there were two areas that hosted events during the Republican National Convention, one being the Rose Garden, the other being the South Lawn, and there has been damage to those areas. So yes, one of the areas that is being repaired is the Rose Garden. It just underwent some renovations. I've seen them as a reporter. I don't think they look so bad at eye level, but there have been a lot of pictures, aerial views that took a lot of criticism. People were upset that some trees were taken down, even if that was done to help the roses. But now the campaign has to pay to fix some of the sod back there on the other side of the White House as a result of having the RNC here.
I'm going to presume that they knew that this bill was gonna come because they essentially sort of put up massive stages in the area in and around the White House. But I'm going to ask you about something else. This is making a lot of headlines. The Justice Department is moving to take over President Trump's defense in a defamation lawsuit. Now, this is something that he's accused of doing when he was not the president. He's accused of sexually assaulting an advice columnist in the 1990s. Tell us why it's significant that the Justice Department, that taxpayers pay for, is moving to defend the president now, why that move is so significant.
Anne-Marie, typically the president is only defended by federal Justice Department lawyers if he is sued or needs defending against something he did in his official capacity, something during his time as president. As you noted, these allegations stem back several decades, not when he was here in office. But in a very unusual request last night, the Justice Department argues that because last year the president vehemently denied these accusations while he was president, that he was acting in his official capacity, and that should be enough to give rise to now have the Justice Department defend him here. Now, it could be the strategy that we've seen with the president's private attorneys in other litigation, that they're just trying to get a delay, because as they contemplate this request, it could delay the trial so that the president doesn't have to participate or deal with this. It's not necessarily in the headlines. But if they prevail, taxpayers would be on the hook for these legal bills. And the president has a lot of litigation going on. And one of the big questions for the White House today is, well, where does this stop? Is the Justice Department, our taxpayers, going to be required to pay for the defense of any case where the president makes a comment while he's in the White House? That would be a really big bill. There's a lot of litigation that the president deals with in his personal life and his professional life, and he does talk about it frequently as president.
All right, Paula, let me also switch gears here and ask you about this nomination for something that the president has frequently mentioned. It's sort of his white whale, Paula, as you know, having covered President Trump from the beginning, because in part, his predecessor, Barack Obama, was nominated and subsequently won a Nobel Peace Prize. Someone has nominated President Trump for a Nobel Prize. What's behind the nomination? What does it mean?
That's right. The president, this is something that he has talked about since he got here to the White House. As soon as he opened discussions with North Korea, he started raising the possibility that he deserved a Nobel Peace Prize. We've learned that he's been nominated for helping to broker a peace deal between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. He was nominated by a member of the Norwegian parliament and the chairman of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. The president has tweeted about this morning numerous times. He has retweeted many people who have congratulated him on this. Again, it is a nomination. It is not the prize itself, but this is something the president has long sought, and he is quite excited this morning.
Yeah, this isn't the first time this member of parliament has nominated the president. He did it back in 2018 after that summit with Kim Jong-un. There are about 300 people that normally receive nominations. So this is one nomination by a member of this Norwegian parliament. Very interesting.
He's a fan. All right, so Paula, you've obtained a copy of the, speaking of fans, and a lot of people watch this, a copy of the pardon application that Tiger King's Joe Exotic is submitting to the White House. If anybody watched the Netflix documentary or listened to the podcast, they know all about Joe Exotic. He's currently serving a prison sentence linked to a murder-for-hire plot and illegally selling and killing tigers. And I will point out that he, too, ran for president at one point as well. What does the pardon application include?
Well, it includes this handwritten letter from Joe Exotic to President Trump. Now, there's a formal pardon application, but he makes his personal appeal directly to President Trump. He asks him to, quote, be his hero. He appeals directly to the president's distrust of federal investigators. It's an interesting, carefully crafted argument. He frames himself as the victim of Justice Department investigators who were pursuing their own agenda, something the president has, of course, argued in the context of the Russia investigation. Now, will this work? Usually you have to wait at least 5 years before you even apply for a pardon. Here, Joe Exotic is asking for that to be waived. Now, some people have asked, why is this news with everything else going on? But in this administration, there have been questions about whether the president has a disproportionately granted clemency to celebrities, those with celebrity advocates, and those who are politically aligned with the president. And we know that tomorrow, or as soon as tomorrow, a physical copy of this pardon application is going to be delivered here to the White House. The president has previously been asked about this. He said he'd look into it. His son, Donald Trump Jr., has also talked about this. But it is a case that we're monitoring because there are open questions about the clemency process here in the Trump administration. It certainly is not traditional. They don't necessarily go through the Justice Department that used to vet all of these applications. The president tends to pick people who often get his attention. And one way to get your attention is to be a huge Netflix star, as Joe Exotic is.
Exactly, Paula, and be a fan of the president. And if you watch the Netflix documentary, you know that Joe Exotic's campaigning style might be something that the president could appreciate. I think he got less than 1,000 votes, though. Paula, thank you so much.